Now, listen up.
3, 2, 1.
It's showtime.
That's great.
This is ridiculous.
99.3 The Truth.
You can't handle the truth right now.
Ooh.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Let's do it.
Hit it. It's time for Mac's World.
And here we go.
Everybody, let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Call Mac 244-0077 or text 809-0993.
It's showtime, everybody! Showtime!
Exclusively on 99.3 The Truth.
6 minutes after 3 o'clock on the 8th day of the 7th month in the second millennium, 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and welcome to the Friday edition of Mac's World Live. Fridays are always 15% more fun just because it's the weekend coming up. And although this is a working weekend for everybody here at the radio station with the Leadership Summit, the Family Leadership Summit tomorrow at Vets Auditorium, Community Choice Credit Union Vets Auditorium thing.
That really is. It's only because Community Choice, I can't even say it, Community Choice Credit Union is such a long thing. But then it's Community Choice Credit Union Event Center.
Yeah, it's Vets Auditorium to me. No offense against Community Choice. I'll try to say it every time I say it. I know I'm supposed to. You paid for that. Not me, but you paid somebody for that. All right. We've got an important show today. We've got an important topic today. Hopefully, you'll find that the show is interesting. We're going to commit the next 2 hours to talking about the shooting in Dallas and what that means, what's going on with all of this. There's a Black Lives Matters rally this afternoon, a couple hours from now, in downtown Des Moines. We're going to want your voice. I'm going to want you to tell me what you think about this. This is a touchy subject. This gets into guns and race and police and violence and just a whole bunch of stuff. I've got Tom Coates on the phone. He's going to join us for a while. And then later on, I've got a young lady by the name of Janelle Harrison who wrote a really interesting piece about this. And I've got a copy of it. And I will let her talk about that. And she's very passionate about this topic. All right, Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat, is watching the chat as well as the Service Legends Truth text line at 515-809-0993. That's a place you can just drop me a message. Kind of anonymous. Just text it to me. Or if you want your voice on the radio with your opinion, then I'd ask you to call 515-244-0077. Jebediah will answer the phone and we'll get him on. All right, let's go directly to the phones where Tom Coates is standing by. Tom, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to act like I don't know what happened in Dallas.
Okay.
So explain, because there's going to be listeners out there who are just unplugged and they don't know what happened, or if they heard something happen, they're not going to know the details of it. So kind of give us the who, what, when, where, and why, please.
Well, as many of your listeners know, there have been a couple of incidents involving the police in the last week that generated the standard reaction from the White House and the minority community, the Black Lives Matter, and they organized marches in some of the cities. One of the cities they organized marches in was Dallas, Texas.
What were some of the other cities? Anybody chime in that knows? Anybody know?
I don't know. I from what I understand, there were several though. But I don't know what other cities.
Okay. Do you know what other cities there were, Tom?
No, I don't.
All right, we'll find out. Bob, will you find that out for me, please? All right, go ahead, Tom.
Well, in any case, the toward the end of the march, and by all accounts, it was a rather peaceful march. Something happened, and what the happening was that snipers from above started shooting down at the police. They specifically targeted the police they were escorting. They were nice enough to escort this peaceful march that actually was demonstrating against them. So here, get the picture, guys. We've got the police force of Dallas, Texas, out in force, putting their resources behind trying to keep this march peaceful and orderly, and trying to defend, as they say, the First Amendment rights of free speech. And all of a sudden, they're shot down at by apparently trained snipers, murdering them, shooting. I think the count was 11. That count kept changing, but at this point, they've killed 5. There were a couple of other bystanders that were wounded as well. They caught the one guy.
Let me just give you an update. Here's an update from KCCI. They now believe that Micah Johnson was the only shooter.
Okay, well, he was quite prolific then. Michael X. Johnson. I saw his picture on one of the sites. He had his hand up in the Black Power salute. Said that he was not operating with anybody else, but hated whites and wanted to murder him. A Black Power group did take responsibility for it. Now, whether they really were responsible is another issue. But and they said there would be more. The rhetoric that I want to take issue with here, Mac and guys, is that what's come out of this White House for the last 7.5 years is outrageous. Many people in this country voted for this man, many of them whites, thinking that they were going to put race behind them. They were finally going to bury race as an issue, and we would be a homogenous American society, and it's been anything but. Going back to the Gates matter, where he said he wasn't sure what happened, but the police acted stupidly. Trayvon Martin, where if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon. Moreover, the Michael Johnson thing has turned around crime in this country. We were continuing to decline crime in this country until the Michael Johnson situation down in Ferguson. And it's done a V bottom on the crime, especially in the major cities. And the racial tensions have never been so high. The White House made some comments just the other day prior to this shooting, blaming the cops again, claiming that they're racist in the way they conduct themselves. And you know, when our Attorney General was down there in Phoenix, and Bill Clinton just happened to catch her coming off the golf course, and they had that half-hour discussion about grandkids and his golf game and everything, she was heading down there to once again exert and take over a local police force. They've done this in about 30 different cities plus. They have instituted federal, extension to these police forces, causing these police officers to fill out endless amounts of paperwork to try to prove that they're as racist as the Obama administration wants to say they are. Cops have been resigning in some of these areas in large numbers. They're now afraid to go out on patrol. They don't have time to go out on patrol. And when they do, the statistics show that they are much more hesitant to use deadly force on a black man than they are white men similarly armed. They're up against it, and I got to guess that it's not an accident that when Obama said he wanted to fundamentally transform America, this was one of the things that he wanted to do. Instead of trying to heal old racial wounds, he wanted to try to drive wedges that are as big as boxcars in there, and he's done a marvelous job at doing just that.
All right, Tom Coates is on the phone with us today, and we're discussing the shootings in Dallas last night. Frank, go ahead.
Hey, Tom, I see this as part of the Marxist, Leninist, communist, socialist revolution that the Bernie Sanders of the world has been calling for years. The only slight difference between Marx and Lenin was one wanted to be a little more progressive and patient, and Lenin wanted it to be done by violence to so enrage the working class. But the problem is, Tom, it's not the working class that's committing the violence. It's the I want everything for free giveaway programs, people, permanent underclass of the Democratic Party that is committing the violence. And Obama has done nothing but stir class division in this country from male, female, rich, poor, young, old, white, black. He's done nothing but stir up that issues in the country since he's been in office, and this is the result of it. Tom, do you think?
Guys, hang on, Tom. I just want to interject and just kind of nitpick the wording a little bit. To say that President Obama is inciting this, I think, is rhetoric. But I do think that, and it's not helpful rhetoric. African-American folks in the United States, I believe, since President Obama has become our president for the last 8 years, have been empowered, felt and given strength and courage to stand up for themselves. The Black Lives Matters movement is a product of President Barack Obama being our president, but it's not because he's inciting violence or asking for violence or encouraging people to do violent things. He has given them hope and courage and strength to stand up for themselves. And as they're doing that, there are people involved in the African-American community, I believe, that want to leverage this for their own agendas, for violence, for hate, and to do dangerous things. So it's not always the most helpful just to lay it on our president, although I think him being elected has some level, something to do with this to a degree. But I don't think he's inciting violence.
I understand what you're saying, Chris, but I can't agree with much of what you're saying. I don't think it's accidental that Barack Obama has done as much as he could to justify this kind of violence. Now, he's come out, and Loretta Lynch have come out blaming guns again. That's predictable as well. Loretta Lynch, in her comments today, once again tried to stump for taking legitimate Second Amendment rights away from the American people. I can only think that if, it's just kind of like with Hillary. If she's really that dumb on everything, then she certainly doesn't qualify as the president of the United States.
All right, Tom, you hang on. Tom,
neither is Barack Obama.
Tom, you hang on. We're coming back. We're live here in Mac's World on The Truth, 99.3 FM.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza, and it's got Graziano sausage.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
21 minutes after 3 o'clock on the 8th day of July in the Lord's year 2016. J. Michael McCoy live in Mac's World. Don't forget Seth Walker. I'm always going to tell you about Seth Walker because I have met a lot of agents in my life. And I buy and sell a lot of real estate, and Seth is my guy. To the point, let me give you an example to the point. I may be buying something, and he didn't show it to me. I just found it. I'm still going to include Seth in that deal. Now, you're going to say, well, why would you just give him money? Because he works hard for me, and he's worth that investment. Most realtors aren't. I know some that are. And he's one of them. 577-3728. The Service Legends Truth text line is 515-809-0993. And if you want your voice heard, it's 515-244-0077. Tom Coates on the line, and we're talking about this. The Dallas shooting is what's raising to the top. You know, the beach ball is come to the top. What this is about is there's been rallies all over the United States with the Black Lives Matter people. And there's been one man killed in Baton Rouge by a cop and one man killed in Minnesota by the cop. If you're a social media person, you may have seen that horrific video of this man reaching for his license, and the cop shot and killed him, and it's all on tape, uncensored. Oh, I've never seen anything like that in real life.
Well, and that's one of the scary things right now about all of this, is that these incidents, two of which happened in very short order very recently, both in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and in Minnesota, were both violent, but they were caught on camera and shown all over the social media. And I'm telling you guys, we've all been on the internet, we've all been on Facebook and Twitter, and we've all expressed our opinions on there. Stuff escalates really, really fast on the internet, and we're not talking about, the Cubbies winning the World Series or something. We're talking about people dying, and the rhetoric gets so loud and it gets so high that these protests are happening because people are just sick and tired of it. And I think that they should be upset. I don't think that these were good things, especially the incident in Minnesota. The incident in Minnesota is heartbreaking on all kinds of levels, because I think there was a lot of foolish mistakes. From what I know, the little bit I know, it appears that there were foolish mistakes made on both sides, both the police officer and the person in the car's side. It is a terrible loss of life, and we should be sad, and we should be upset. Now, we shouldn't hurt people because we're upset.
Well, how many videos on the news have you seen of a cop shooting a white guy?
Right. But the point is not whether or not it's happening. The point is, though, Frank, is that the African-American population that is being attacked, they are the ones videoing it. They are the ones showing it. They are the ones encouraging one another to stand up for their rights. That's who's moving right now.
The point I'm trying to make, though, is there's more white shot by cops in this country than black shot by cops. And the point that I'm making here is the media is not exploiting and zeroing in on those events and broadcasting those events. The media is complicit in this, Tom, and I think you'd agree, because they are immediately jumping on and exploiting these events of white cops shooting black people to exactly stoke these fears.
But wait a minute, though. Go ahead, Tom.
Let me say this, Chris. If Barack Obama, who has been disparaging and justifying violence against the cops indirectly or directly since his start, if he was really concerned about the plight of the black American, he would do a couple of things far differently. One, He wouldn't allow the black unemployment to go to sky-high levels. He would try to do something other than try to make them dependent upon a big daddy government that they're going to continue to vote for. And he wouldn't allow the black crime to escalate in the Democrat-controlled cities like Chicago, where we have virtually doubled in recent years the number of murders. We've got over 2 murders a day. Now, that's black-on-black crime, and nothing to see here. Move along, folks. But if you can find, as Frank was saying, one white policeman somewhere that's shooting a black guy, justified or not justified, Barack Obama, his Justice Department, and the media jump on it like a cat on a June bug.
I agree, and I guess I do appreciate your comment. Let me say this. Frank was the one who pointed this out to me. I don't know how many weeks ago this was. We are all the media now. We are all news reporters now. Every one of us that have a phone, every one of us that has a device. Wait a minute, Mac. Hold up. Just let me finish what I'm saying, and then you can rebut it. But just let me finish what I'm saying. What I mean by that is, what is encouraging this and what is inciting this is not NBC, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, whatever. It's not the major news outlets. What's happening right now is a young lady driving a car with her boyfriend sitting next to her, has a cell phone. She videotapes a police officer shooting her boyfriend dead. That's news. That's we can say that just happened once. We can say that it happened 1 million times. And Frank, to your point, I understand that white folks are killed by police officers as well. But right now in our country, the reason why it's getting the coverage in the news that it's getting is because these are the things that are being filmed. These are the things that are being seen. And this is the stuff that's upsetting people right now.
But you don't think that people are capturing white men being shot by cops also? Why isn't the media taking why aren't they taking those videos and exploiting that? Because see, Chris, here's the difference. They turn these events into 2 or 3 day news events where they will have reporters like Geraldo Rivera and Anderson Cooper and Don Lemon. They'll put these people on the ground in these cities to dig up stories where there's no stories.
But are you upset that these people are dead?
Yes. I'm upset the cops are dead.
The point that
Listen, guys. Recently, Barack Obama had the leaders of Black Lives Matter, which are funded by George Soros groups. And he was praising them. He said, well, these are better community organizers than I was. If we didn't, and the Black Lives Matter is the organized groups that are perpetrating the violence of the Donald Trump. So the whole thing is politically and intentionally contrived, and we have a greater racial divide in this country than any time in my life since the 60s. And
I think you're absolutely right.
The White House for this.
I think that's very astute, and thank you for saying that, Tom. But the question is, here we are. We find ourselves in this time in the country where we are racially divided. I agree with you 100%. I think the country's more. This is the most the country's ever been racially divided in my lifetime. And I feel it. The question is, are we simply going to say it's President Barack Obama's fault, it's political activists' fault, or are we going to say there's actually a problem going on here and we need to stand shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm with people who are being oppressed, people who are being attacked? Look, this in Dallas, let's kind of get back to the story at hand here. You had a wonderful, lovely protest, completely defended by the First Amendment. Everybody, why? How? We're bothered that they had a protest. The police department, the Dallas Police Department, was there to protect the protesters. Tom, as you pointed out, they intentionally dressed down, meaning they weren't in high-level armed gear. They didn't have riot gear on, anything like that, for the explicit purpose of keeping things calm, to showing that they didn't want to show force to the protesters. The protesters were peaceful. The protesters were calm. The protest was over. People started going home, and then a gentleman in a parking garage opened fire on police on police officers. And
you can take that situation, you can say it is an endemic around this country, or you can say this is fomented by the media, made to blow up out of everything and to look like it is far worse than it is. And I think that this administration has part of its agenda to, instead of tamp down the fires, Chris, they're trying to throw gasoline every opportunity that they get.
All right, we are live here in Mac's World on a Friday afternoon. Usually we try to keep Fridays fun and loose, but the news won't let us do that today. I actually was going to do favorite Bible verses today. I wanted to really soak into Jesus today, but this is a big deal. And if it's not a big deal to you, then listen with a teachable ear. Something's happening in this country. And it's not just on the evening news. It's in downtown Des Moines. We're 2 weeks away from the Republican convention, okay? 2 weeks away from the Republican convention in Cleveland. And I fear, do you know what fear is? I fear there's going to be violence at that convention.
Right.
And I don't know who's going to start it, but I know who's going to finish it. And it won't be the good guys. If you remember the riots of, what was that, Frank, 68?
The 66 Rots.
No, I'm talking about
the Chicago convention.
He's talking about a bunch of white people, Republicans no less, being violent.
So this isn't Black Lives. Democratic convention in Chicago.
Chris, do you mean when I talk about Cleveland?
Yeah, you're talking about at the Republican convention.
Correct.
Yeah, you're talking about a bunch of Republicans getting together, mostly white folks, and you're afraid that they're going to be violent.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no.
Well, what about the Black Lives Matter that will be in there trying to foment problems they've done on the Donald Trump events in the past? And again, these are George Soros-funded, Barack Obama-praised, paid fomenters that will go in there looking for nothing but trouble and to further get their friends in the media to blow it up.
Oh, Frank, go ahead.
Well, Tom, one more time, I want to try to tie this into the push of the Bernie Sanders of the world, who is stirring the communist socialist pot. Yeah. Here's a quote by a icon of the feminist movement. Now, seriously, it's a short quote.
Just hold on. The words and opinions of Frank the Verse are not necessarily those of J. Michael McCoy, 99.3, or Max World Live.
Feminism, socialism, and communism are one and the same, and socialism, communism, government is the goal of feminists. Catherine McKinnon. Tom, this is what they've wanted all along. They want this violent revolution to overthrow capitalism. That's what it's been about from the get-go. Give us socialism is going to be the cry.
All right.
Big government.
515-244-0077. That is the studio line where it's your voice I want to hear. Or Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat watching the chat, is also watching the Service Legends Truth Talk text line, where you can just text anonymously. Well, I guess you can call in anonymously, too. I mean, we don't have any caller IDs or anything like that, but never had any issues with that, and so we appreciate that. A little bit later on, a 21-year-old young lady who is involved in this whole argument. It's one of those deals where I literally ran into somebody at the food court, and I knew her mother, known her mother for 15 years. And all of a sudden, we started talking about this Dallas thing, and Janelle whips out what I printed to be a 5-page. Janelle, would you call it a tirade?
I would call it a tirade, or more of just a plea to the people and to get basically all of this out, just to make us all come together.
Okay. And I printed this up for you, and I want you either you can read that off of there later on, or you can read it off your phone, whatever you want to do. All right, Tom, you hang on. You okay for a while longer?
And I better go. I've vented enough. You guys go ahead and take it.
Well, fine. So you just stop by the party, eat a couple of Fritos and a bottle of beer, and then you walk out. All right, go count your gold, Mr. Coates. I appreciate you being here. 515-244-0077. Now, Mr. Roloff.
Yes, sir.
When we come back, we're going to go back and talk about that thing that everybody is a reporter. Is that what you said? Everybody's a reporter in today's social media? Is that what you said?
That's what Frank said.
That's what I said.
You said, too? All right, we're going to talk about that live here in Max World.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs,
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fix them problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. All right, 3:38, 22 minutes before the top of the hour. Salem Radio Network News at the top of the hour, and then we will continue. This is our 2-hour topic today. I need to figure out what I'm going to call Jill, Chris. I don't like. Well, she's my executive assistant. Is that an okay?
That works. Is she an executive? Does she get an executive salary?
Well, hold on.
Oh, you're the executive. She's assisting you.
Right. So she's an executive assistant.
Yeah, she's the assistant to Mac, and we can call Pam Washington and ask her what that's like.
Oh, we want to be careful there. But Jill says she doesn't know whether she can do this for 2 hours or not on this topic. So I'm going to break here for just a second, and remember to tell people that you love them this weekend.
That's right.
Not that you shouldn't do that every weekend. But when was the last time you called that friend? And you were so close at one time. You were like glue. 2 peas from a pod. And you just stop, you kind of stop talking to them. They didn't do anything wrong. There's no resentments there or anything. It's just life, right? Life happens. Why don't you make this the weekend that maybe you call that person up and just, I'm just thinking about you. And I know this may sound a little goofy, especially if it's a guy to a guy, but I love you. And I just want you to know that. And I think about you far more often than I ever pick up the phone and call. That's a Jesus thing to do. Okay? So if you tell me that you don't know how to be a disciple or Jesus is just in church on Sunday or whatever that is, tell someone you love them and they matter and you've done what Jesus does. Okay? All right, 20 minutes before the top of the hour, one of the new promos that we have on the air that has not gotten into rotation is one of something that I'm very passionate about. I'm very passionate about a book and the process the book teaches us on how to be disciples. And it's not just for the outdoor plumbing. It's for the indoor plumbing, too. It's a girl and a boy thing. But it kind of leans... does it lean masculine? Well, you know what, Janelle? You listen to it, and you tell me if this sounds too masculine. This is the quote-unquote movie trailer from the book The Barbarian Way, written by Edwin McManus. Edwin McManus went into the heart of Los Angeles slum and started a church in a nightclub every Sunday. And 20 years later, that church is changing lives. And he wrote a book called The Barbarian Way. Remember that 8 out of the 12 disciples for Jesus were barbarians. So you had the Jews. Then above that, you've got the legalistic people like Frank.
Pharisees, Sadducees, scribes.
And then above that, the high priest. Now, if you go down the other way, under Jew, you've got Gentile. And really at the bottom of the pile, in fact, it's really below the baseline because nobody wanted to talk about the barbarians.
Zealots.
Who's a barbarian? Well, the first one you think of is, of course, John the Baptist. Ate raw honey and nuts and wore skin, animal skin and furs and stuff. This book talks about returning the relationship you have with Christ back to that time, walking with him every day, making disciples of all men and women. Actually praying. I pray every single day, God, bring somebody beside me today that I can help. And just make it so stupidly clear that I don't hit my forehead and say, I should have had a V8. It's obvious that this person, that God just moved these people into my life. Pray that every day. This is the recording, the movie trailer for The Barbarian Way. Listen, please.
Christianity has become our Shawshank, and our redemption will only come if we find the courage to escape the prison we have created for ourselves. Risking everything to live free is our only hope, humanity's only hope. Jesus is being lost in a religion bearing his name. People are being lost because they cannot reconcile Jesus' association with Christianity. Christianity has become docile, domesticated, and civilized. We have forgotten that there is a kingdom of darkness stealing the hopes and dreams of the souls of humanity and our children, and they have no God. It is time to hear the barbarian call, to form a barbarian tribe, and to unleash the barbarian revolt. Let the invasion begin.
Max World Daily, 3 to 5 on 99.3 The Truth.
All right, so that comes from my heart. Now that writing is from the book. I did not write that. I don't think I could write that well. You guys are all in front of my cameras. Do you realize that?
It's a radio program.
Okay, passionate radio with pictures and Chris Roloff's behind, right in the middle of the thing. I'm sorry, I digress.
What happened?
You just did it again.
What?
Huh?
What?
Huh?
Did you guys hear that? I didn't hear it.
All right. So I would strongly encourage you. If you don't want to buy the book, I'll loan you one. Just give it back to me. It's about a 4-hour, maybe a 3.5-hour read. And it will help you understand where the heart of the disciples were before Jesus said, come with me. So I'd encourage you to read it. All right, a little earlier, here's who's on the radio today. So Bob's here. He's watching the Service Legends chat line and the text line, 515-809-0993. Frank, our in-house bigot, racist, I don't know. Today you're like unhinged, aren't you? Did you drink too much? Oh, you don't drink caffeine.
I don't drink caffeine.
So how many quarters did you put in your slot today?
You'll have to talk to Bob. He had a pocket full.
Chris Roloff, station manager and in-house liberal, is here. And I've invited Janelle Harrison to come in. I just met her an hour ago with her mom. I've known her mom a long time. And she's a 21-year-old spunky little thing. And she had already written something about this thing that went on in Dallas. That's the conversation we're having today, is Black Lives Matter, the killing of police officers killing people, the video from, where was that, Minneapolis?
That was Minnesota, Twin Cities area.
Right. So if you've got thoughts on that and you'd like to comment, you may certainly do that at 515-244-0077. Now, the two of you.
Can I go first?
Well, sure.
Let me just.
You're going to be wrong whether you go first, second, or last.
Let me just give you the premise, and then you guys can argue it out. I suggested to Chris Roloff a couple of weeks ago that anybody with a cell phone is potentially a newsmaker. Because let me give you a practical explanation.
Now, hold on. Before the term was reporter, you just said newsmaker.
Well,
they are not the same.
No, you're right. That's a more accurate term. I spoke incorrectly there.
All right. If I stand out here in Merle Hay parking lot and a tornado touches down and I capture that tornado on my cell phone and I email that video into KCCI News and it's on the 6 o'clock or 10 o'clock news that night, what am I?
You're a guy that had a phone and took a picture of a tornado, and they'll put your name in the corner and say, video taken by Frank the Verse.
But they wouldn't have had that video except I captured it on my phone.
Right, so you are nothing more than a photographer. That's all you are.
Poor photographers everywhere going, hey.
No, I love photographers. Television photographers are some of my favorite.
Well, what about
the bottom line is, you didn't do anything except turn on record.
But what about the woman who captured her husband or boyfriend being shot in the car? What is she?
She got her phone on and she pushed click.
Well, how about that? Then we stand corrected because we've had this conversation before. Anybody now is a newsmaker.
I'm okay with that.
We can distribute information at breakneck speeds now. It used to be such that it would take a very, very long time for news to get out. I wasn't around during the Vietnam War, but one of the things that changed the country during the Vietnam War was the speed at which information got back to the U.S. You know, if news could have traveled as fast during World War II, I think people would have responded probably somewhat similarly. I don't know. It was a different kind of war. But especially during Vietnam, that's what people got upset about. They could see it happening.
All right, 515-244-0077. That's the number you can call to have your voice on the radio, or you can simply give me your opinion via the text at 515-809-0993. That's the Service Legends Truth Text line. We're coming back live here. Yep, it's the truth.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common, everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
It's coming up tomorrow. The Family Leadership Summit 2016. Dale Tackett, Ann Graham Lotz, T.C. Stallings, he's from that movie War Room, and of course, Pastor Stephen Corey, who was on the radio with us. That was last Friday.
It was.
And it's Pastor Corey that is trying to put together. Now, this is not a tour, so you can't go. Okay, well, I mean, if somebody wants to come with me, that'd be fine. I wouldn't mind company, but I'm going. My plan right now is to go to Israel and broadcast live Christmas Eve from a newly planted Christian church. Guess where? Janelle, where would be the perfect place to be on Christmas Eve?
Where Jesus was born.
Right. We will be live in Bethlehem. We'll do Max World on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then on Saturday, Christmas Eve, we will broadcast live. And I'm thinking we're going to do some type of visual, meaning television or internet or whatever it is. And I'm just, God kind of laid this on my heart last Friday, because I don't like to sleep in other people's beds. I walk into a motel room and it's like it's got a black light on the bed, and I do. And I've spent 4 nights in the last 11 years. I've spent in a bed away from my house 4 times. The idea of going all the way over there, where I think it's kind of dangerous. I don't know about you, but I think it's kind of dangerous, especially for a white Christian, old white Christian. But there will be no tour groups. There will be no stay behind the rope. These pastors are going to take me where Jesus walked, and they're going to take me to all the cool places. And then we're going to meet rabbis, we're going to meet imams, and we're just going to do that whole show from there. Would you pray, if that's God's will, that come about? It's not a financing thing. It's God's will. I mean, does he want this newly planted Christian church in what greater town in the world than Bethlehem on the night our Savior was born? I just think that's cool. All right. So anyway, Black Lives Matter. There have been on the 7th, which was yesterday. Yeah. Jersey City, Denver, Oakland, Kingston, New York, Seattle, Philly, New York, Washington, Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas, Baton Rouge, Minneapolis, Charlotte, North Carolina, and more. In Baton Rouge, a policeman is shot and killed. What did you say, that the person was being held down and the cop shot him? Is that what, Janelle,
Yes.
is that what you heard?
Yeah.
And that was the one in Baton Rouge?
Yes.
Okay. And then in Minneapolis, the video that went viral was from the girlfriend filming the boyfriend being murdered by a cop right there before your very eyes. There's no black and white here, okay? There's one video and it shows the truth, right? It's the truth. Sometimes there is the truth and then there's everything else.
It was the aftermath.
It was the aftermath.
The aftermath of him being shot. So basically, literally, he was shot 4 times, and then she's got onto Facebook Live and started to post or stream the video of what was going on. And the cop is still standing there pointing his gun at the guy.
And did that then create other incidents across the country? Did it create anything in Minneapolis or?
Well, that's why the protests came about, was because within 2 days, it was the Baton Rouge incident and the Minneapolis or Twin City, Minnesota instance.
All right. And so those were not last night?
No.
Those were, what did you say, Bob, on the 5th, Tuesday?
I'm not sure of the dates, but it was before.
It's been in the last 3 or 4 days.
Yes.
Okay.
What happened on the 7th was, as Janelle was saying, that was the response. This is how the United States responded to these 2 horrific events. They responded in protest, and they were all over the country. And I want to point that out, that they were all over the United States, and we had one incident in Dallas. And even the Dallas incident was remarkably peaceable. That was the report all the way up until this event. And this individual, from all intents and purposes, was not related to the protest. He was there, obviously, because of the protest. He was there because he's mad for the same reasons that the protesters are mad. In fact, the chief of police even kind of shared what he said, and it was very clear if you hadn't already heard what he said. The shooter said that he wants to kill officers. He expressed wanting to kill white people.
This is this Marcus guy?
This is the gentleman, the sniper.
Or Micah?
Micah Johnson,
okay.
The sniper in Dallas.
Is he dead?
He's dead.
Did he kill himself?
No, he did not. He was taken down.
He was blown up.
He was blown up. The Dallas Police Department did a unique thing, something they don't normally do. They actually sent a bomb robot.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh,
forget it.
It's okay.
Forget it. Just go.
They sent a
mechanized.
Those robots that defuse bombs typically. Well, anyway, they took him up there.
What was that movie?
iRobot?
iRobot. Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, that's terrifying. Yeah. Anyway, so they took the robot up there, and he had a bomb on the robot, and the robot blew up the guy. But this was all after the hostage negotiator talked to the sniper for a while and actually got the guy to talk. Chief David Brown spoke very highly of the hostage negotiator, said he did a great job getting the gentleman to talk. And he said he wants to kill more officers. This is the sniper. He said he expressed wanting to kill white people, killing white police officers, and expressed anger for Black Lives Matter. But none of these things were approved by David Brown, obviously. He said these are no reasons to be violent. But he ended up killing 5 police officers and injuring 10 other people. All this one guy. One guy. And,
is this guy military trained or?
Well,
Yes.
we don't. Was he military trained?
Yeah, he was deployed to Afghanistan, I think.
Okay, now I'm going to ask a difficult question, and I just have to ask it. Is there any ties here to Islamic?
I don't
Not at
believe
this
so.
point.
Okay. All right, because he doesn't have an Islamic name.
Right, not at this point.
Okay. All right, you hear the piano in the background. That means we're going to take our top of the hour break. I have no doubt that Salem Radio Network News will come in and update us on what's going on. It's literally changing. It's just changing and changing and changing. My guests today are Janelle Harrison, a passionate young lady who wrote, I call it a blog. It didn't get published, so it'll be a blog when I take what you sent and I put it on my Facebook. Do I have your permission to do that?
Yes, sir, you do.
And I'll credit you at the bottom, okay? Mm-hmm. So that'll be on my Facebook here in the next, before we come back from the news.
Are we going to hear it? We're going to get to hear what she had to say?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
When we
I'm
come back,
she's
she's gonna read it.
Good.
And she's gonna read it how? Slowly.
Yes.
we were down in the food
I get
court.
passionate. It's a very sensitive topic.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, we were down in the food court, and I was trying to get back to do the show, and so you read well. You read fast very well, though, Mom. You did a good job with that one. All right, Frank, can you just sit tight for 6 minutes without blowing your gaskets?
If you keep the quarters in Bob's pocket.
Bob Montserrat, the Service Legends chat line is on. Of course it's on. 515-809-0993. I love you. Thank you very much for listening. I love this job, and I couldn't do it without you. Right here on The Truth. Yep, The Truth. 99.3.